Now, to get this out of the way, I am in no means saying that nostalgia is bad. I'm kind of saying the exact opposite, honestly. Nostalgia is critical for how we appreciate all the memories in our lives and the experiences we've had with people and things. Nostalgia is reminiscing, loving, and appreciating those moments long gone. However, what I am gonna say is that it can bring this extremely large drape over our eyes as consumers, and even critics, and make it hard to admit that sometimes we consume or do something in an attempt to solely recreate that lost magic again. And the people making these things know that. It's like when you play a really old game and then you realize that it really isn't as fun as you imagined or remembered as a kid. And that realization is fine. It's completely and utterly normal. The novelty itself has faded, but the memories of you enjoying it won't really ever fade, which is where we hit a conflict of interest. I think now more than ever there's been this over-reliance on nostalgia in movies and video games or just general media. Let's take for example quite easily the biggest movie of last year, Spider-Man No Way Home. The biggest selling point of the movie is nostalgia, with all the trailers and leaks revealing that the old Spider-Man and villains were coming back. And that got people hyped, beyond hyped really. I remember just the sheer amount of pure excitement and hype this movie had leading up to its release. And to be fair, it really did live up to it. The reveal of the other two Spider-Men were great, and they paid great homage to them both and gave them great moments with each other. And the villains were all great and they interacted with one another seamlessly. But then you remember the rest of the film, and how slow and boring the first half is, the sheer amount of plot holes and cop-outs the movie has, and that the movie only really gets good when all three Spideys are on screen. The plot holes force you into the movie just for the sake of the story. For starters, let's talk about how stupid the main plot point of the entire film is. That being the initial spell, and how it completely undermines the intelligence of quite possibly the smartest living characters in the MCU with Peter Parker and Doctor Strange. To say that Doctor Strange couldn't just make everyone forget what Mysterio and Jameson said about Peter being Spider-Man is insulting. The writing overlooking pretty obvious plot holes that insult the characters is at fault of Marvel's writing, which then circles back to what the main point of the movie was, which I truly believe was to gain the attention of a whole generation of Spider-Man lovers. And it did indeed accomplish that without a doubt. But I feel that it is a very bad thing to rely that much on nostalgia, and to leave the whole other hour 30-minute runtime underdeveloped because of it, which leads us to an even worse abuse of nostalgia. Let's talk Mario, Nintendo's golden boy when it comes to brand recognition and basically whenever they want money. And to say that they are one of the biggest culprits when it comes to using nostalgia as a way to blind consumers into buying a half-assed product would be a lie. This brings us to the disgrace that is Super Mario 3D All-Stars. I think that this, if anything, is the best example of how nostalgia will blind consumers into defending a product that does the absolute bare minimum effort into achieving its goal of preserving three of the most important games in Nintendo's catalog. It's Mario, one of the biggest and most recognizable characters in the history of media. And to celebrate its 25th anniversary, we have this pea stain of a collection. It changes little to nothing in Mario 64, besides changing some icons to make it more modern, I guess, and some bug fixes. It doesn't even give you widescreen or anything. Mario Sunshine only adds widescreen and tweaks it a bit. Galaxy at least adds motion controls for the Joy-Cons and a little tweaking to get it in proper HD. That is basically all that's in this full price $60 collection. But even if you want to re-release it in its original state, at least add some extra content to make up for that lack of effort. It doesn't make sense, especially knowing that Nintendo has done a great collection before with Kirby. But even regardless of the $60 price tag or the minimal to no changes or improvement to each of the games, people still bought it. I mean, I did. It's just this blatant abuse of nostalgia to drive sales and to not actually use that nostalgia to betterment those experiences that the original audience had, or to give a better experience to those who've never done it before. It's completely fine if you want a product's focal point to be catering towards nostalgia, but yet again, it just depends on how it's pursued. If it's just a lazy reboot or remaster, doesn't even at least try, it's shameful. There are also plenty of good examples. So many people want to re-envision something for a new generation, and to reignite those memories that they had with a product and that so many others have had as well. Because people love these characters and worlds, people want to support the third reboot of something they remember so fondly as a child. Even I am at fault for this, and I'm sure the person watching this right now is too. We all want things we have such joyful memories of to be reignited, and sometimes we have to accept that it can't, and that's okay. To constantly want to have that same feeling again is normal, but sometimes it's best to just take it for what it is. But companies blatantly spitting in people's faces, banking on the fact they know how much people love and care for these things and have so many memories with these things, is just unfair. It's killing nostalgia.